Hello, a massive welcome. Charlotte Barrett here. We are back with season 2 of Think Create Initiate podcast, and so excited to host this episode for you and have a real lovely chat as we go through today's topic, which is all about how to explode your network, even guys if you're a newbie. Yes, even you guys. Now, this is so important because when you come into the online space, you need to be able to carve out your unique proposition, your unique little place in the online space as quick as possible. Also, it helps you really build momentum. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that we often see with the clients that come to work with us, they have this notion that because they're new and maybe they haven't built up the credibility or the testimonials, etc., that they can't do this strategy, that they need a massive audience in order for it to be effective. And I'm here today, guys, squash that for you and let you know that's completely not right. Now, if you are coming into the online space and you have been struggling, you're not being getting momentum, I guarantee this strategy is going to be a game changer for you. Just like when Grace and I came into the online world, how many years ago now? It's probably like 7 years. Well, we started our business 7 years ago. We came into the online world about 4 years ago. And when we came in, we was just like looking left and right, and we saw so many big names, massive names like people like Carrie Green, like Bushra, all these people that were just massive to us. And we was like, how on earth are we going to be able to grow our business and in comparison to these big names? So we started to get really strategic, and we were thinking, obviously, we've just come in here. We didn't have a group. We didn't have a following. We were still learning our craft, so to speak. And what really worked for us was getting intentional about building our strategy, building our network. It's why one of the first groups we formed was like the Connectors community. It's why we understood that we needed to get mentors, coaches in our community. We needed to collaborate with our peers. And we really went intentional on this. And guys, it changed the business for us completely. We started to get referrals, we started to get opportunities, we got clients from it, we started to build our audience quicker than it would have taken just by really growing our network and being intentional. So I'm so super excited to share this with you today. Now, one of the first things first that I want to get straight with you guys, as you are going to implement, and we're talking about this, and I want you to pick up pieces that are going to resonate with you, to make yourself ready as your network is going to grow and all the opportunities and clients are going to grow. It's so super important that you actually optimize your profiles. So sometimes people, they get all the strategies, we give them that, and it starts to open up a floodgate, but they're not literally ready and they miss the leads coming in. So what we found was so super part of this plan that made it successful for us, apologies, is that we was able to optimize our profiles. We learned about this in the early on stages. And what that simply means, for those of you that are a bit unsure, what is optimize your profile? It meant that we made sure that all our profiles, our real estate on social media to speak, was ready and awaiting these new people that were going to come into our world, into our ecosystems. So we made sure that we had links that brought them onto the next stage of the step to come into our world, know a bit more about us and maybe work with us as well. We made sure that their cover photos on social media were displaying what it is we had to offer, what we was doing. We made sure, as I said, links, sequences, things like that were set up. So all our profiles were ready, good to go. So as our network started to open and grow and people came in, there was a clear path for them to follow. So I want you guys to get that ready. If perhaps it's still a bit sketchy, it's not clear at the moment, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Simply could be meaning that you use the keywords in your bios that your ideal clients and customers are going to use. You make sure that you have the right photos that display what is your product or service, and more importantly, you at least have one link which can be the next step that they take with you, whether it be maybe just a phone call link, a website, a landing page, whatever it may be. The important thing here, guys, is just to remember that you always want to be one step ahead of your customer in terms of their journey and have it ready for them so that they can take that natural progression. Now, number two, so after you've sorted out and you optimize your profiles, what is super important and what has worked a treat for Grace and I, we still use it and we teach our clients this today, is leveraging other people's networks. So most of you are in the beginning stages. A lot of our clientele and our audience are still in a job, right? So that means time is very limited, often having families, other commitments and all that goes with it. So it's so important that you think smart. There are people out there that have built your audience already. They've done the work, they've done the groundwork. Now what it is that you just need to tap into it, go over to that audience and wow them. There's nothing unethical about this, and it's what people do all the time. So one of the ways that we found to be super effective for this has been podcasts, being guests on other people's podcasts. And I know for those of you that are newbies out there, you're like, oh, but no one knows me, who's going to want me on their podcast? Absolute rubbish. People who create content for their audience, they welcome in people to give their expertise all the time. Remember, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. So whatever is your zone of genius, that is your zone of genius. And podcast hosts will welcome you to come and have that conversation and share it with that audience as well. So it makes a change, and it means that those podcast hosts are really giving value to their audience. So anything that you're thinking that perhaps you're too new to do that, I want you to get that out the window, and I want you to understand that this is a massive industry, and it's an opportunity for you to share your expertise in front of the ears of millions of people worldwide and reach audiences you may never have done. And it's simply going on there, as I said, delivering your zone of genius and making sure that, again, you've had your the next step. So perhaps you go on a podcast and you have maybe your lead magnet or some sort of freebie that you give away, so that they can then come on, because they've loved what you've done. They can then come onto your world and just be wowed, and you build that like, know and trust system in there as well. So podcasts, you can reach out, you can look on things like Chartable. There's lots of Facebook groups that are always looking for podcast guests. It is not that hard, I promise you. And this is a way to really explode your network. The same principle works again for doing lives in people's Facebook groups. Grace and I, we always open our doors in our Facebook community, the Thriving Startup Female Entrepreneur community, and the link is in the show notes. And we let community members go live every Thursday. That's a perfect opportunity, and many other groups do. Or you can be bold enough and go and just contact the host. Again, people are always looking for ways that they can provide value for their audience. And I know already that all of you guys listening to this or watching this are amazing at what you do. So you're going to go there, wow them, and it's going to be a welcome change for them. So it's about now changing that set shift and just approaching people and spotting the opportunities. And I promise you, as you start to do this, more and more opportunities open. And what then happens is you start to get exposed to networks you never would have before. You grow your audience at the same time. You grow your confidence, you grow your expertise. You also start to build the double bit on this, the extra bonus points, is you start to build what is called your asset list. Meaning that it helps you show credibility. If you've been on other people's platforms, people will immediately, as you're growing your audience and building authority, they'll start to say, hey, well, someone else has taken her on and listened, and she's been a guest elsewhere, so she is credible. So it really works in that way. So I really want you guys to hop on the fact that there are tons of content creators out there that would love to collaborate with you. So just be bold, reach out, and you will see how quickly you can leverage your own network, your own audience, opportunities, and potential clients as well. Now, the third thing I want to talk to you about how you can do this as well is, guys, getting on the mindset of being the giver. Massive game changer again for us when we was really focused on this strategy, and it's something that we still impart all the time now. So it's about really going into any situation or any opportunity with the intention of being the giver. So how can you connect people? How can you provide opportunity for someone else to succeed without condition, without expecting something back? The beautiful thing that happens here as part of the universal laws is that you get that back. People will start to remember you when there's opportunities that are right for you and refer you, tag you, and you start to just open up a whole new world by you coming with the mindset, meeting people, or perhaps going to a networking event or a group, or just forming a new relationship with someone and going with the intention, how can I help you? Who could I connect you with that can perhaps make it that much easier for you? And guys, this just starts to again explode your network. You also become known as like the connector, the common key, and people will just continue to come to you for all sorts of things. And this works a treat, and it's something that's part of like one of the ethos that Grace and I always have done from the early stages. and continue to do now, and it's making a conscious effort of how can I be a giver. And one of my core things that I actually have developed personally on a daily basis is I like to go to bed knowing that, okay, how have I helped at least one person that day? And I just tell you, the multitude of what comes back is just absolutely amazing. So I am sharing that with you, and that's massive. Now, the fourth thing that I want to share with you guys about how you can explode your network is collaboration. Again, this is just going to really help you. As I said, other people have been building audiences perhaps longer than you, or at the same speed, and they've got that magic process, and it's okay if you're not there yet. But by collaborating with people that perhaps complement what you do, you guys can be a force to reckon with, where you both provide value to each other's audiences. So start to think about peers, people who perhaps you're in groups with, maybe masterminds, etc., and think about, okay, what do I do that would complement this person? And then start to just reach out and see if there's a collaboration opportunity. Perhaps again, it may be that you form a product together that you put out to the market. Again, you're going to have two audiences that's going to see it instead of one. You can think about what could you do. Maybe you can do a summit or something like that. The possibilities are endless. But I'm telling you, collaboration can really speed up you doing something as one solo entrepreneur who perhaps is very, very time poor, and collaborating with someone, and then you've got double, potentially quadruple the amount of effort, audience, people seeing you, and gosh, I'm telling you, the results and what comes back from it again is massive as well. Now, what I also want to say, leave you with as a point as well, is lastly, number 5, is thinking about the gaps. So as I said, when Grace and I came into this world, we got really, really strategic, and we started to think about, when we came in, we was like, okay, at the first time we didn't have any mentors at that point when we entered, so it was like, we need to get a mentor, we need to get a coach, we need to join communities. We joined lots of communities. We needed to understand what networking groups were going online and offline, and we started to get very, very strategic, and we started to form also peer relationships with people who were doing what we were doing as well, who were building, so that we could bounce off each other and collaborate. And I'm telling you, having that network and having these different people that you can tap into with their network is really going to help you get that momentum, grow quicker. You know, we can do this entrepreneurship thing absolutely by ourselves, but one, it's so much fun to do it with other people, and also you get results so much quicker doing it that way as well, because we are not built as islands. And you can just, as I said, it's working smarter. Instead of you just doing it by yourself, you're tapping into knowledge, experience, the networks, other people's contacts, and you can just snowball that momentum effect. And once you've got that momentum in your business, you can really start to see success quicker, and it's easier to hold on to than trying to get momentum. It's like you pushing yourself up the hill, but having it, maintaining it becomes much more easier. Now, I've enjoyed this topic because I know what a game changer it is, and I've enjoyed speaking to you about it. If you have any questions, please reach out in the show notes or across on any of the social media challenge channels, I should say. Let's carry on the conversation as well. So if you are not yet a member of our Facebook group, please do join. Again, that's another place we can start to explode your network, and we really look forward to connecting with you and seeing all of your businesses just really flourish and grow this year. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.